You guys, I've been out here crawling around in these hot, humid rocks for the past couple of hours, and kind of hoping I could come across one of these. This is a timber rattlesnake, like I've shown in several videos now. It's Crotalus or Crotalus, whichever way it's pronounced, horridus. It's really the only rattlesnake that you're likely to see in North Alabama. We do, in theory, have pygmy rattlesnakes up here, but they're extremely sparse if they still exist. And I'm sure there's a few areas where they do, but you're not likely to see them. But anyway, this is the main one you will see in North Alabama. If you go far enough south, I mean way down south, maybe the last 10% of the state or so, you might see some eastern diamondbacks. But this is the timber rattlesnake, or some people call them a canebrake rattlesnake, which used to be a recognized subspecies, but is not anymore. I think we're starting to get this one a little agitated. I've been sitting here photographing her crawling around here on these rocks with my camera for the past 10 minutes, and she hasn't even rattled yet. She really hasn't moved other than her head slightly. Anyway, timber rattlesnakes, they're native to most of the eastern U.S., into some of the Midwest states, up all the way to a small part of Minnesota, I think, and down south to, there's a couple areas in extreme northern Florida where they are, but for the most part, when you get to Florida, there's no longer any timber rattlesnakes. But anyway, you know, everybody's afraid of rattlesnakes. This is what they do. They mostly just lay there. As long as I don't go up there and start poking her or stick my foot right in her face, then I'm 100% safe. She's not going to come after me. But, you know, as I've mentioned in a lot of videos, like any other snake, this is very beneficial to have. She eats a lot of rodents. That's the main thing they eat: mice, rats. They will eat smaller rabbits and squirrels and chipmunks. Maybe very rarely a bird or something like that, but the vast majority of their diet is small rodents, or rodents, not necessarily small. A large one of these can eat a full-grown gray squirrel, but typically they're feeding on mice and cotton rats and things of that nature, chipmunks. But yeah, like I said, beneficial. And besides being beneficial, they're super cool. Like, as I've mentioned, to me they're the same as seeing a bear or a wolf fed in, you know, Yellowstone or the Smokies. You don't go up there and kill every bear you see, or hopefully you don't kill any bear you see, but a lot of people do. A lot of people do kill every snake they see, especially venomous snakes like this. And I understand you don't want them living in your yard, unless you're just a very special kind of person. But most people, you know, they don't want to have to worry about this living in their yard. But the best solution for that is to keep any kind of junk cleaned up, weeds cut back. You basically keep their food source from living there, and you'll keep them from living there. But I do want them living out here, you know, in nature, in the woods. I wouldn't want to come out here and not be able to show my grandkids, you know, the native rattlesnakes. But unfortunately, we seem to be slowly headed that direction. But they're still hanging on in a lot of areas, and in some parts of the south there's good populations of these, but especially up north there's not. Very fragmented populations, completely extirpated from some areas. here in North Alabama and in the mountains in the northeast. They can be found in a lot of those areas, and then some parts over on the western side of the state. But there's large areas where you just will not find these. If you get down further south, they become a little less affiliated with the mountain ranges, and they're more of a lowland snake, which is where the canebrake subspecies that used to be recognized lived. It's more of a lowland type snake. It can be recognized by the kind of a gold brown stripe down its spine, dorsal area. These up here are considered, to the best of my knowledge, would have been considered canebrakes as well. Most of them do have that light stripe. I can't really see this one very well, but I think she does. But they do act a little more like the northern, what would have been the regular timber rattlesnake subspecies. Not, like I said, they're all now under one species, but these a little more I guess they depend a little more on the mountains and these rock outcrops. Not to the extent as they do up north, because our winters are not as cold. They don't have to find, the dens are a lot that are suitable are a lot more common because they don't have to go so far underground. But these do act a bit more like the northern timber rattlesnakes in that we mostly find these over here in the mountain areas and kind of around rocky outcrops. They have a lot of the same behaviors, whereas the ones further south will, like I said, live in lowlands. Their dens will be more like stump holes, or maybe even gopher tortoise holes if you go far enough south, armadillo holes, but where trees have burned and left the hole in the ground or rotted away, and there's a hole for the root system, so where a lot of snakes will hibernate. But anyway, there's the timber rattlesnake again, Crotalus or Crotalus horridus. Awesome snakes. This one has yet to rattle at me. I'm snapping up a couple more pictures and let her live her happy little life right there. There's the third timber rattlesnake I've seen today. The second one didn't want to be photographed or on camera. This one I just happened to reach up and pull these weeds over with my snake hook, and it was laying there. This goes to show you do have to be careful where you put your hands and feet. I was about to step right up here, is why I moved the leaves over with my hook. But it likely wouldn't have done anything unless I stepped right on it. But you do need to watch where you're stepping. Anyway, timber rattlesnake number 3. I think the only 2 that's going to be on this video, but she or he is going to ease off down under those rocks where I can't eat him. And I'm not that hungry anyway, so I'm going to let him go.